I think we spend our lives doing a lot of things that we can do.
Mhm.
Like, oh, I could do that. Or I'm going to, but what are those things that we must do? We don't hit the pause button.
Mhm.
We don't see our check engine light, and we just keep going, doing the things that we can be doing.
Wow.
And the thing that suffers the most is those things that we must be doing. Because the check engine light comes on, we don't take it to the shop right away. We're like, oh, that's the only check engine light. It's still driving, until your car breaks down because you never took that moment to stop and say, let me check why my light is on.
That's another mic drop moment.
We all have that room that we throw all our junk into. Like, even in our house, we do. We have the junk drawer. You have that closet. You just in our lives and our emotions and all that, we have that room that we never want to visit. That's where all the crazy stuff has ever happened to us. Until we get to a place where we're willing to open that door and begin to deal with that stuff, that's always going to be. It's always going to be there. Yeah.
It's in another room.
It's just another room.
Gotcha.
You can not go there, but it's there.
So you, in other words, you kind of saying deal with your trash.
You got to. You have to, and it doesn't happen overnight.
Welcome to the Elevate I.T podcast, where we interview leaders who are going after their inner tugging. And let me tell you, we have an amazing man of God in the studio today. I promise you, this person is amazing. I like to think, I know he is a pastor. He is an entrepreneur. You do a little bit of design work as well. I'm hearing on
the side.
On the side.
Yeah, in the tuck.
A retired rapper or a current rapper? How do we say that?
A retired rapper.
A retired rapper.
Yeah.
A creative man. A community leader. No joke. No joke. This dude lives what he preaches in every aspect of it. I'm honored. We are honored to have here on the Elevate I.T podcast. Put your virtual emoji hands together and welcome to the podcast, Josh Grants. What's good, bro?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
You guys should get that horn. It's like
get that on there
in the background,
Yeah, get yeah.
Like the DJ hype.
I'm trying to build my intros up on a different way, man. What's good, man?
Nothing much, man. Glad to be here.
Good. Before we get started, I want to introduce something to the Elevated fam, right? I'm gonna call this like mic drop moments, right? This is why, because even a purpose of what we do here with the Elevated podcast, people going after their inner tugging, is for them to get to get content, get something that's going to encourage you along your journey. So maybe you're not a pastor like Josh is or entrepreneur, but you have you have your thing, right? And so when you get that mic drop moment, that thing that hits your, I'm gonna say sha-na-na, it hits you, right? It hits you right there, like, oh, that's a powerful point. That's just what I needed. I'm gonna encourage you in the comment section to go ahead and put the microphone emoji on there, okay? Like, y'all can practice now. And if you're just listening to this on the Apple side, then go ahead and jump on the YouTube side so you can participate with this as well, right? Drop that microphone emoji. And look, if it's really good to you, put the point out there as well. Whatever's being said, put that out there. Why? Because we want to fill the comment section with words of encouragement, empowerment, things that will encourage somebody to go after their journey and so forth. So if y'all would do that with me, continue to put that emoji, the mic drop emoji there, so we can go ahead and move forward with that. Is that cool? You good with that too?
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on me now.
What? Not pressure.
Drop?
Mic drop moments.
We'll see.
You got them. We'll see. If it's just one, we'll just call it a trial. Or I'll get Lanisha to remove that part.
Yeah. Like, on the next episode, we will have a mic drop moment.
Listen, y'all, if you haven't already, man, hit the subscribe button. This is going to be great. I promise you it is going to be great. More pressure. I'm keep saying this stuff to add more pressure to the table for Josh. But no. All right. Mic drop moments. Subscribe, like, share, do what you need to do pertaining to that. But Josh, you're the real deal, man.
Thank you.
You are.
I don't know if I am, but thank you.
You don't know if you are? I appreciate the humility pertaining to that. One thing, there's a lot of things I could say about you, but I think one thing that I really admire about you and honor about you is the fact that you are always learning and putting into practice what you preach. Right? So I have a privilege of knowing you on a personal level as well, and not just what's the presented level.
Yeah.
And so where does that come from?
The desire to learn.
Yeah. And more so after that, the putting into practice what you preach.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to give you a cliche answer like, oh, I just want to be a lifelong learner. No, I just want to continue to grow in my knowledge and understanding, first and foremost, of who the Lord is. And
that's the pastor, y'all. Y'all hear the pastor.
Yeah. And what his word says. And then how does that apply to my life and the people that he's entrusted me to care for and shepherd and minister to. And so it's always like honing your skills, right? To, if you want to become a better basketball player, have a basketball background,
right?
Is how many shots you put up in the gym, that's going to translate into the game. And so I look at my study early in the morning, my time in the Word, the books that I read is like the time in the gym. People always say about Kobe, like you wasn't with him shooting them shots in the gym. And so that's the time in my time in the gym, to really allow the Lord to fashion me to become the man that he wants me to be. The husband, the dad, the pastor, you name it.
Shout out Jordan and the Crane family.
Shout out Jordan. Amen.
Books, you said real quick. What do you read now?
Right now I'm reading Disciplines of a Godly Man.
Disciplines of a Godly Man.
Yeah, I'm reading that.
Who's that by? That might be a recommendation that we can go ahead and put out there.
I'm trying to think.
Come on.
I can forget that. I'm sorry, I forget the author.
We'll get it.
Yeah.
Disciplines of a Godly Man. Is there another book? Because it's not just men that watch this. Is there another book that you got?
Absolutely. There's another book right now called hold on.
I'll drink while you this is water. He's feeling in his shana now.
It's going to have to come back to me. It's going to come back to me.
All right.
There's a book by a guy named Mike Foster.
Okay.
And it's basically helping you helping you discover, like, it's about like what questions that you ask, right? Like what's your life question? So mine is, am I loved? Yours might be, am I accepted?
Yeah.
And so the name of it is slipping my mind, but it's been rocking me. My question is, am I loved? And so how I interact with people, how I feel, like how I want to build relationships in a healthy way. I just want people to love me.
Primal question.
Yes.
I got your
primal
back.
questions.
I got your
Thank
book.
you.
You know how I know?
7 primal questions, right?
Well, we were in the together.
Oh, yeah.
And you sent me the link.
Yes.
Because we got the same question.
Yes.
So I had your back.
Thank you.
You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you. I don't know why I couldn't. I was thinking Rolling Passions, and I knew it wasn't Rolling Passions. That's somebody else.
All right. So y'all get that? Primal Questions by Mike Foster.
Mike Foster.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
There's a healthy way. So that book's been really impactful for me in the last 2 months, just because there's a healthy way that gets fleshed out in our lives.
Yeah.
Because, we want to be loved. We want to be accepted. But then there's an unhealthy way where you project that on other people. So like, I'm going to do this to you, or I'm going to treat you this way in order for you to love me, or my lack of being loved. I'm going to love, like, I don't want you to feel that. So I'm going to like go hard on making you feel like you're loved.
Wow.
And so you kind of project that in an unhealthy way on other people. And so it's something that we all wrestle with. And so he's really helps people unpack like what's their question. And that's been a good book outside of like theological and, kind of biblical things. I read a lot of commentaries. I'm studying through Ephesians right now. So I got stacks of commentaries on Ephesians and, but I always like to kind of read outside of that sphere as well.
Yeah.
Just to strengthen, myself.
Well, a lot of people may not know, if I didn't mention already, is you're also a coach.
Yes.
So that kind of goes into your coaching side as well.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, and we share that same passion pertaining to the area of coaching. So I think that's great too. Not only just, I love the coaching aspect, right?
Yeah.
Because like, I feel as though like a good coach is not one to just tell somebody what to do, but like you said, it's asking those questions that give you that self-awareness to kind of see, you know, okay, this is where I'm at and this is what I need. This is how, and we just like walk with them, shepherd them in a sense to kind of walk with them to help them unfold and develop and see what God has called them to be. So even that life learning aspect that you're talking about, being an effective coach, an effective preacher, teacher, leader, whatever the case may be, like we do have to remain students, right? We were in a meeting yesterday together, and that's what I was sharing with the group that I was helping to lead. I was like, thank you all for continuing to be students. Like no matter what your title is, right? Whether you're a business owner, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a pastor, creative, whatever the case may be, right? Like influencer, like remaining a student.
Yeah.
And continuing to learn from one another. And that's another thing that I just value, you know, about who you are. And that's why I was saying those things, because in the room, we were in a, you know, a number of rooms that we've been in together. Like you're like I said, you're the real deal. Like you have the knowledge, you have the insight, you have the wisdom, you also have the humility. But I listen to you and you don't say a whole lot unless, you know, and so when you're in the room, I'm in the room, especially if I'm leading, I'm like, yo, Josh, what you got to say? Like, and I think that part, because you, from my perspective, you're always actively listening and learning.
Yeah. Isn't that hard for us to do though? I think, because we want to give people the answer, you know, we want to give the advice. And I think as a coach, like you do a really good job at that, in bringing out, the heart of that person and getting them to think through and answer their own questions. Because our immediate thing is like, let me share what I think, you know, or let me share how this has worked for me. And, you know, that's a discipline to have. And I think like for me, my wife is good for me in saying like, you're talking too much. Let somebody else, let somebody else share. But that's been really good and helpful. But in coaching, just learning that process of allowing that person to really express what's on their heart, to really wrestle internally and get it out, you know. And, you know, because you want to be Mr. Fix It. I know I do. I want to be like, let me just give you the answer. Right. Or let me just help you find your solution as fast as we can. And it doesn't always work like that. A lot of times, you know, you have to trust the process.
That phrase.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Yeah. It's really hard to do.
I don't like the phrase. I know it works. I know it's true because I'm result driven a lot of times. Like, so it's like if I don't see the result, and that process robs me sometimes from that instant gratification. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, yo, I want that, but I'm learning in this walk. I'm learning with this podcast. I'm learning in ministry, in business. Like, yo, like you really do have to trust the process. Coach, I'll call him the coach, not just the pastor. If the pastor comes out, it's cool. You know, we welcome him. We welcome him as well. But how do you walk somebody through the area of trusting the process? Because somebody's here, right? And they're watching. They're like, yo, or listening, and they're like, yo, I hear that trust the process. If they've been following us, they've heard that theme a number of ways. But that's not necessarily an easy thing. So what would you say outside of your pastoral pray about it?
One of the things that I maybe about a month ago I had an opportunity to teach on this, and is really hitting the pause button. Like sometimes we need to hit the pause button in our lives and take a life audit, basically evaluating everything that's happened. And sometimes we need life audits to look at the last 20 years. But sometimes, like, I like to take like quarterly life audits and say, every 90 days, can I hit the pause button? Look back at everything that I've done up until this point in the last 90 days, where I'm at right now, gauging that, and then what needs to happen moving forward to get to where I want to go, you know? And I think so much of our time is we're so busy, right? And we can crowd our lives with so many things that we never give ourselves the opportunity to hit the pause button, you know, to Sabbath, and to re-engage and to see, like, I think when we, in a healthy way, pause, evaluate, we're able to move forward in a better way, because we're putting in the work in the moment, looking back and also looking ahead. And I think our lives are too busy sometimes to do that.
Let me pause you, because that's a mic drop moment right there. Absolutely. I need you in the comment section dropping those mics. Something as simple, right, but yet profound as hitting. Excuse me, not hitting. Pressing that pause button in life, right? We live in a time, social media, everything else, like it's just fast. Let's do this, let's do that. I just said to somebody the other day, though, I feel like at times I'm on a treadmill in life where I'm doing a lot of movement, but not necessarily going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And so for one, somebody may say that's still exercise, and that's good. You still can be consistent. But at some point in time, I probably need to pause to reevaluate, if I'm hearing you properly, where I am. Not just once a year, right? But even quarterly, or some, for some of us, it could be weekly. Where we need to hit the pause button. I think of it like a car, right? If you want to go ahead and fill up once a week, but you're doing a whole lot of driving, at some point in time, you might find yourself on the side of a road, right? Burnt out, so to speak. But I think that's the thing where we find ourselves, even as leaders and creatives, right? Like, you're at the place, how many times we're trying to, like, I can't figure this thing out. But what do? More work.
Just keep going. Yeah. It's like the check. You just gave the car analogy. I was thinking of the check engine light coming on. Most of us, the check engine light comes on. We don't take it to the shop right away. We're like, oh, that's the only check engine light. Like, it's still driving, you know, until, you know, your car breaks down because you never took that moment to stop and say, let me check why my light is on, you know? And
that's another mic drop moment. He said you weren't gonna have him. What? Check your engine light. It's your engine, bro.
It's your engine.
It's your engine. Light that's going on.
Another thing I was thinking of is, this is not mine. This is somebody else's mic drop. But one of the guys that mentors me, he always challenges me and say, there's a lot of things that we can do, right? What are those things that we must do?
Oh.
You know, you talk about your it. Like, I think we spend our lives doing a lot of things that we can do. Like, oh, I could do that. I could do that. Or I'm going to, you know, like, but what are those things that we must do, you know? You know, what are those things that burden us? Like, what's our vision from burden? You know, like, what's the burdens that we have, and what's the vision that God has given us to see those things fleshed out, you know? But I think we don't hit the pause button. We don't see our check engine light, and we just keep going, doing the things that we can be doing.
Wow.
And the thing that suffers the most is those things that we must be doing.
Wow. And this all came from your life learning. The initial question. I thought I forgot.
Bring it back
to the second part is why apply these things. And so this is before you even answer that, because I think it's easy for us as preachers and teachers, coaches, whatever, to just love knowledge. So somebody may say, well, you guys are preachers, you're teachers, you're coaches, you're entrepreneurs, you want to learn. But there's a difference, man, where some people, we stop, and that's a gift. I'm not hating on anybody. I want to be clear in that. It's like, it's a gift set. But for you say, you know what, I could learn the knowledge and just share it. But dude, like, you apply, you do the work. You're in the community, you're in the field, you're doing those things. So where did that come from, or you know, what?
So the root of all that is, this is my pastor hat. Put my pastor hat on.
Good.
The root of all of that is, you know, God's word says we're to be not just hearers of the word, but doers also. Or he, you know, talks about some of the churches that were having a form of godliness, but denying its power. Right. So that, I look at that as like the lack of, you can look like something, but your life isn't matching it.
Wow.
Right. And so, my dad growing up would always give his version of this and say,
shout out Pastor Jack.
Shout out Pastor Jack. You can't impart to others what you don't possess yourself.
It's another one. It's another one, y'all.
So I could put it in modern day terms. We can't give what we don't have.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so when you surround yourself with people, so we like to have our lives be pouring into others, right? Like, I can't give what I don't have, or I can't expect you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself.
Wow.
Right. And so I think that's the thing that drives me to flesh it out in my own life. And believe me, it's work, and it's hard work, and I can, like, it's so easy to be a fraud, right? It's so easy to say, like, to have all the right things to say, you know, we can make ourselves look good, you know, but the people closest to us are the ones that know us the most.
Yeah.
And we need those people that are close to us to even call us out and say, you say a lot of things, but when no one else is looking, those things don't match up.
Yeah.
And so, and that takes like, it takes work.
Yeah.
To be that man or be that woman. And so, but we need those people we need people around us to help us in that way. And we need to be pouring our lives into other people. So I've always mentored younger guys in Coatesville. And that was the biggest, like accountability for me. It's like, I don't want to say something or expect something of these young men that I'm not willing to do myself or that I'm not fleshing out in my own life. Right. And I know they're struggling and I know that this, cause I'm facing those same things, but I can't give what I don't have. And I can't expect it for somebody else to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. And so that drives me to flesh things out. And like I said, it's hard. I remember one time I was leading a Bible study with some college age kids at Westchester. And I was just talking about the importance of being in the Word and the importance of prayer, and we got back in the car. This is when me and my wife first got married. So, 18 years ago, we're celebrating 18 years in December. So she was like, can I ask you a question? She was like, when was the last time you were in the Word? And I was like, well, Dad.
Yeah.
But it was very convicting for me because I just did a whole hour-long Bible study.
Yeah.
Wow. And
wow.
But it took her to say, Josh, like your actions don't match what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so that was a moment in my life where I had to hit the pause button and say, am I really doing this? Am I really about that life? And I think that's what drives us to be better and to do better.
Let me interrupt you because you got some great stuff that you're saying too. And again, I hear somebody, you're watching, you're like, well, I'm not relating from that particular level. I'm not a pastor, whatever. Look, these gifts, these points, these mic drop moments, they are transferable. Like you have something, you're a hairdresser, you watch this, you thinking about that. Okay, well, what does the life need to deal with that, right? Yeah. Somebody gonna come to the seat, they see somebody else's, their hair always busted, but now they want somebody to sit in a particular seat. Like it's an area, the lifestyle. Now, to each person, like, is a different level of accountability pertaining to that as well. The barber and the preacher got two different levels of character that they have to develop pertaining to that level. But your thing is your thing. Like, make this work for where you are, right? Like, listen to what Josh is saying and be like, man, this is how that applies to my life as a creator, as an influencer, as a mountain mover, whatever the case may be that you are. Like, those things are applicable. But something that I know we all can identify with, man, is the accountability that you're talking about. This is my personal belief, but I've watched you for years and I see that, you're a magnet. Like people, when you do things, they show up. I'll put it that way. Right. Like you're in the community, you do different things like that's fine. But I think one thing that I've honored about you that I think may be a huge part of the success that God is blessing you with is you are a man committed to accountability.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you share your areas. So what are some areas of accountability that you personally have? Yeah. Because they hear pastor, they hear leader, whatever. But what levels of accountability? Do you have a pastor?
I do have a pastor, several.
Okay.
That I can call upon. And I know they're going to pick up the phone every time I call them, if they can. And then I have friends that have walked alongside of me for a long period of time. Right. My friend Joel and Dwayne, that we talk every day on the phone. Sometimes we're just busting it up and, that's a lot of the time. But a good percentage of the time, we're talking about real stuff that we're fighting through.
Iron sharpening iron.
It's hard. Like sometimes we have hard conversations.
So they're not amen men. They're not just, oh yeah, Josh, you right. Yeah, you need to go ahead and do that. They like, nah, you dead wrong.
Yeah. But you also need people outside of your sphere, outside of your inner circle, that can walk alongside of you. Not that you're outside of my inner circle, but like, these guys have been friends for lifelong.
Yeah.
But I believe that God's placed even you into my life to, somebody I can call that I know I can like share deep things with, or like questions that I'm trying to wrestle through, and those kind of things. We need those types of people.
Yeah.
And one of my mentors says we need people that we can be heretics with.
Wow.
Right? Not like wild out with, but people that we can ask the hard questions, people that we can make the mistakes with.
Yeah.
People that we could struggle through things with, and get the answers wrong, and knowing that they're not going to desert us. They're going to walk alongside of us.
I love it. So I hear you say mentor. So that means you have mentors, you have pastors, you have an inner circle, you have a coach, I've heard you say as well, whether I don't know if you're using that interchangeably, whatever the case may be. So you're surrounded by people that can help pour into you. So when you pour out, you're being poured into. Yeah. Yes. That is my own mic drop moment. Okay. I mean, being real. Yeah. It's hard doing ministry, business, anything alone. You can be surrounded around people and still feel alone. Yeah. Me and you both have talked about those particular situations. Yeah. So you can be around, but still feel, but to know that, look, I can pick up the phone and call this person, that person. So you're watching, listening, like, I encourage you, like pay attention to who God has in your corner. Yeah. Right. I'm not saying, and I've wrestled with this. Oh, I'll see this person out there and they doing it, and I want to connect with the person that's whatever. And the truth be told, they not even looking at the DMs. No. They ain't even looking at this. All that they got a whole team of people. They not gonna mentor you at that level. But what is God? Who does God have in your circle right now that embodies what you need in this season to help grow? Because some of us are not growing because we're not allowing ourselves to be in the area of accountability. Like we are the loudest voice, or we're at that point in place where hurt has taken place in the area of ministry, or hurt has taken place in the area of business, or whatever the case may be. And so we're not open to getting that feedback or doing what needs to be done. You know, I share it publicly. I have a therapist, pertaining to that. We have a family therapist. Like, so when we talk about that area and aspect, like we get what we need. And I'm learning, in this season too, that we have to get what we need physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Yeah. Exercise wise, like whatever the case may be, so that we can be what we need to be. But accountability, that's something that is starting to be a cuss word in our culture and community, man. And
I think something that we're good at is crowded isolation. We could have a lot of people around us and there'd be no depth of relationship, no transparency, no vulnerability, no accountability. And and we're good at operating in isolation, so you can have the look of, I got mad people around me, but you really don't. And we're experts at crowded isolation.
Crowded isolation. This dude, I can't with you. That's great. Another one. I love it. All right. I'm gonna transition.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cause we've been going pretty deep. All right. Well, I'm gonna ask you this question, then we're gonna go somewhere else. What's your life passion?
Whew. People you have a mission statement, don't you? You have kind of like a life mission statement. I don't have one of those. I know people that do. I would put it into like kind of like a flyover of categories. So my relationship with the Lord, my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my family. So God, husband, father, church, like so my relationship with other believers. But that would all fly not under the umbrella of, but like Coatesville, the city of Coatesville, like has, people say like they have a calling on their lives for something. My first clear calling on my life was that God wanted me in Coatesville before ever being a pastor, any of those things. Like I just knew I wanted to be here and serve here and love here and all those things. And so that would be my mission statement. Somehow under like God's called me to a specific people, a place, to keep my eyes focused on him, to be the husband that he wants me to be, the dad that he needs, that my kids need me to be, in community with people that are driven by the same things.
Wow. So I'm put my coach hat on.
Yes, sir.
Did you notice how many times you said relationships?
I didn't, but looking back.
Right?
Yeah.
Which I think, all right, so I look at like our assignment and our inner tugging as two different things.
Yeah.
So if we want to go to Matthew 14, Jesus tells the disciples to go ahead and get in the boat, go to the other side. That's assignment.
Yeah.
But Peter, realizing in the midst of this storm situation, there's something that's compelling Peter to say, look, if that's you, Lord, like we're terrified at seeing this thing. There's some scary things.
Yeah.
Right. That I'm not sure, Lord, if that's you or not. Right. But if it is you in this scary situation, even in a situation like I'm compelled to go ahead and move forward, I identify that as an area of it.
Yeah.
So even if relationships is your assignment pertaining to that, there's multiple it's, and that can be seasonal. It is not just one thing, one time where you're like, look, in this particular situation, like I've seen you operate, like I'm hearing what people are saying about youth. I'm hearing what people are saying about this and that. You're like, I come up against those situations. So I'm not just going to talk and say it. I'm going to actually go to the schools and I'm going to mentor in that area. Because no matter what they're saying is a storm particular situation, I see that that's Jesus out there. And that's the one. They weren't scared of the storm. When I'm looking at the area that necessarily, they're used to being on a boat. Yeah. They seeing Jesus out there. Something that looks impossible. Something that seems, I'm preaching now, but but I'm just saying, but it's that point that hits you when you're like, look, I know there's other leaders around, but this thing is for me to step forward within that and move forward, right? Yeah. And so I see those things as different. So coming from that area, though, when seeing the clarity, when you're saying my relationship with God, my relationship with my wife, my relationship in church, my relationship in community, like it's relationship, even through the primal, what is it? Primal, that book that we gonna put out there. It hit Primal Questions. Primal Questions is connected to relationship. Yeah. And I think that that's power. When we know that, we understand that, then we can be what that is and we can operate to the fullest. So you're connected. It makes perfect sense. The evangelist, some people may say that's in you and on you and around you, but it's connected to people. Yeah. That's what you see Jesus doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Powerful, man. I'm proud of you, man.
And it drives you, you know.
You're amazing.
So, thank you, man.
You're a blessing, man.
You are too.
Can we lighten this up a little bit?
Please. I
got a little special segment I'm gonna put out there.
Okay.
Lanisha just loves me right now. Ain't that right, baby? I'm gonna call this Jordans and Jesus.
Okay.
But you don't know where I'm going before you fight with that. Like,
but I got the T-shirt.
But you do got the shirt on, right? So. I gotta ask the question. You can't lie. This is going to the world. I just need to know: have you ever copped a pair of Jordans that were fake, but you knew that nobody could tell that they were fake, and you still rocked them as authentic J's? You got it. This is for the people, man. This. I know your reputation, man. I've said Jordans specifically. I said Jordans. Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. You know what I'm just going to say? Next question.
Yeezys, yes.
I protected you, right? I just said Jordans, right?
Yes.
But okay, so that's that. That's true. All right. So people who don't know you, how many pairs of sneakers do you have, man?
I don't know. It's probably 50 pairs. But if you're looking like the world of,
him get squirmy a little bit.
If you look in the world of sneakerheads, that's really not a lot in the world of sneakerheads.
There's a couple amens that probably would say that. Like Keisha might be watching this.
Yeah, she's like, oh, that's light work. I have some ones that I really like that I've always wanted, or like that were meaningful in my life. Like meaningful in my life by like the cement 3 Jordans, the black cement 3s were like my favorite shoe of all time. So I have those in my collection, right? I had them several times throughout my life. Jordan 1s. It was the first pair of Jordans I ever had. And I remember my mom and dad used to have the Coastal basketball team up at our house all the time. So I remember, like, I have memories of like seeing those guys in our basement playing pool, rocking Jordan 1s. Rocking Nike Terminators, and I remember them lacing up my first pair of Jordan 1s. Wow. Right? And so like those are, they're just like memories that are attached to it. And so yeah, I like to collect Jordans. I have some other shoes, but Jordans, and I have some ones that like I would call like my grails, my holy grails of collector's items, and then just like regular, ones that I like, colorways that I like, and I like authentic colorways.
What does that mean for people who aren't sneakerheads? What do you mean?
Just like if they're a re-release, there's a lot of re-releases that you can get any color way you can think of nowadays. But it was really like the shoes that Jordan wore on the court is really what I have. Like I really like.
Okay.
They're my favorites. Okay. And then there's I got a pair of 4s on right now that is just, he never wore this colorway. It's a different, but I like the colors.
Right.
So if it has Coatesville colors in it.
I was ready to say, that's connected to community.
Red, black, white, gray.
It's going to give you that. Okay.
I don't wear anything with blue and yellow. So that's not allowed.
Not allowed.
Yeah. Okay. But any other colorway I'll go with. As long as it matches my outfit.
Well, let's test your mind. What do I have Jordans on right now?
Yes.
I do. Which ones?
I'm trying to think what I said.
I'm just saying, true sneakerhead, they see them, they scan them. Where they at?
I don't know. I gotta look again.
You don't know.
Because I mixed it up yesterday and today. I know you had ones on yesterday. You had the burgundy, white, and gray ones on yesterday.
Okay.
Right.
So that's what you want to lock in?
But I'm thinking by your sweatshirt, you might have them on again today. Can I look?
You gonna lock it in? No, you gonna lock it in before you look.
I'm gonna lock it in.
You gonna lock it in?
Yeah. Ah!
All right, y'all. He passed the test, y'all. He passed the test. All right. I got one more. And this had nothing to do with sneakers, though. But it's another passion that we have, that we share in ministry and life and all that we do, right? So I need to know this from you. This is pertaining to a particular eating place. You ready?
Yes.
You know where I'm going?
Yes.
I need to know. The people need to know. This is why they logged in. This is the reason why. If Chick-fil-A was to start selling beef and open on Sundays, would they be insane?
Yes. For one, I don't eat beef. So I hold that against them. Open on Sundays, I wish so badly they were open up on Sundays, man. So but Chick-fil-A, man.
Yeah, we might have to leave here and get some, man.
Man, the Holy Spirit has breathed out on the Cathy family that invented that chicken sandwich and that Chick-fil-A sauce.
I would love to say that they sponsored this episode, and if you're watching and y'all can contact me before we actually air it, we'll put that in there pertaining to that.
People get mad at me because they see me in the drive-through. I go through the speedy one where you can order in advance, and there's a couple people on Facebook that were like, get mad at me for waiting in line.
Why?
Like, why don't you just walk in? And then they think that's the only thing I eat. Now, mind you, I only go to Chick-fil-A maybe once every 2 weeks, once every couple, maybe even more than that. But the Cranes family likes Chick-fil-A.
What is your member status?
Oh, I am
on the app.
Whatever the hot gold standard is. I forget what it's called.
Signature.
Yeah, signature status is easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, that means that you have had 10,000 points from the app. And
oh yeah, I got about 20,000 points right now.
They need to invent a higher level for you. I also am signature as well. So yes, the points be nice pertaining to that level right there, man. I love it. So I need to know Chick-fil-A sauce or Polynesian?
Man, that's hard. It just depends what I'm in the mood for. It's like Jordans. Do I feel like wearing 3s today, or do I feel like wearing
wrong
4s
answer?
Today?
Sent wrong.
But Chick-fil-A is always my go-to.
The sauce.
Chick-fil-A sauce is always my go-to. Now I can like fries. I love in the Polynesian. Like it just like that's always my number 1 and number 2.
So that's gonna be in there no matter what.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A. It's gonna be both, but Chick-fil-A sauce is gonna be my first.
Not the barbecue.
I mean,
what about the smoky? What is it? Come on. I'm thinking about Keisha, Coral, and all of them. It's a sauce.
Oh yeah,
it ain't quite make it. Is it? It's not a honey. It's called a honey roasted, something like that. Come on, something like that. What about that one?
I put that on my wrap yesterday at the thing. That was good.
That was good. I changed somebody's life. Somebody found Jesus when I gave him that sauce yesterday. I felt it right there.
Yeah, it was good.
That was good. That's just a very important part of the podcast. I don't know if y'all got anything else pertaining to the podcast, but that was very,
They got the avocado lime ranch or whatever that's on the salad.
That's my mom's thing.
Yeah,
I ain't go there yet.
I like it.
Lanisha's a no. Why? Avocado?
Chick-fil-A got the sauces.
They got the sauces, man. But if they go beef,
yeah, I don't know what they have to offer.
Why do restaurants do that though? Why do you notice that? Like, I know you came in here with a certain cup. I ain't gonna keep going on, but that particular company, stick to your main thing.
Stay what you're good at.
Why?
Don't go outside of your sphere. You know, it's like Taco Bell coming out with French fries and all that kind of stuff. Although McDonald's did their thing with the fish sandwiches back in the day. I haven't had one for about 15 years, but...
Yeah, I'm kind of banned from McDonald's right now, so we're going to change the subject because that might put a new a new thing on there, talking about all the foods and stuff. All right, excuse me. Let's get back to it. All right. So we have something we call Elevate in Your Element. All right. And then from there, I want you to give some of your social tags as well. So get that stuff together after this. But elevate in your element. And so we're not physically in your element, but we've talked all about the element and we can get there. Okay. Yeah. But this is what I want to talk about. We about to go deep a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So when I think about you, I think about church. I think about community. And we've heard of the term before, church hurt. Right. Yeah. Anybody, if you've identified with that, you can say yes. You can put that in the comment section as well, or just nod your head. All right. So that, if you've never heard that term, God bless you. But that primarily is referring to like congregation, like a person who experienced some type of hurt from a pastor, leader, church body. And a lot of times that results from, a bitter taste in somebody's mouth about the church. All right. So I'm not judging any of that. I don't know anybody's story. Yeah. I'm not going with all that, right? Yeah. Do I believe it's real? Absolutely. And we're praying for anybody who's experienced those things. But with that being said, I want to know from your perspective, is there such thing as pastor or leadership hurt?
Absolutely.
And if so, what does that look like?
Here's the thing about relationship. If I'm driven by relationship, I want relationship to be reciprocal both ways. And I think a position of leadership, a position of whether it be pastor, business leader, a lot of times we pour in, right? And, or we become a listening ear, or we become the counselor. Especially in ministry settings, you become the listener, the counselor, the advice giver, the shoulder to cry on, all those things. Sometimes you're not given the opportunity to return that to your congregation, to whatever.
Yeah, your
clients. And so that's hard, right? And so, and I want to say my line of work, but in my line of work, I think you're dealing with a lot of hurting people. People do carry church hurt, past pain, trauma. I think trauma is the biggest thing that the culture, but the church is really going to have to address in the next few years. Because everybody has so much trauma, right? I mean, think of the Gen Z and, that demographic of people. They've had to walk through stuff that you and I never had to walk through.
Right.
They walked through crazy elections. They walked through racial tension in America, police brutality, a pandemic. You just go down the list, government shutdowns and all that. And they had to navigate that in very instrumental moments in their lives. So they're carrying all that into, and if they're coming to you with to be a shoulder to cry on, to be a area of advice, it almost puts you in a position as a leader or a coach, whatever you want to call it, of like, they're coming to you hoping that you're going to fix what's been broken. And that's just like a lot of times it's unmet expectations,
Mhm.
you know, and so that's hard. I can't fix everything. Do I have a desire to?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I have a desire to speak truth and joy and peace and hope and contentment into your life, to see the pain be diminished? Yes. But I might not be able to do that. So that expectation, when it's unmet, you know,
Hurts.
it hurts,
Sure.
you know, and people say hurtful things,
Yeah.
you know, and sometimes the relationships that you pour yourself into,
Mhm.
you know, you can come back to that person and be like, well, thank you for sharing how you feel,
Mhm.
but this is how I'm feeling. But like, sometimes your feelings really don't matter
Yeah.
in the moment. You have to really weigh that, and be okay with that,
Wow.
you know, and not put the blame on that person, because that person might not be where we're at emotionally, spiritually, you know.
Yeah.
And so, but you carry that burden, you know, and you carry that weight, and you're like, man, what about my hurt and my feelings and my pain and my brokenness?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you care about it?
What would you say to the person now? I'm not even saying just the leader or the pastor, maybe somebody experiencing whatever, church hurt, business hurt, anything, just pain in this season. Like, what would you say to them far as what can be some steps to start towards healing?
Yeah. I think you need to start within your own heart, right? And be at peace about what has happened to you. Not to fix it, not to but you need to be in a position where you're saying, I'm ready to move on, right? Sometimes we move on without, you know, with not being in a position where we're able to do that. And so we carry that pain and that burden, that brokenness, and what's been done to us, into the next thing. And so I think counseling, therapy, relationship, to begin to work through that process of making sure your heart is healing, because it's never going to be healed, right? But I think so many times we push stuff away, and there's no such thing as a way.
Wow.
And so,
what do you mean by that? There's no such thing as a way.
It just, I heard it said one time, like, you know, we have if our mind and everything is a house, right? We all have that room that we throw all our junk into. Like, even in our house, we have the like junk drawer, you have that closet, you're just like, shh, you know, and in our lives and our emotions and all that, we have that room that we never want to visit, right? That's where all the crazy stuff has ever happened to us. It stinks in there. It's old in there. It's but it's there, right? Until we get to a place where we're willing to open that door and begin to deal with that stuff, to begin to clean it out, right? That's always going to be, it's always going to be there. Yeah.
Just in another room.
It's just another room.
Gotcha.
You know, you can not go there, but it's there.
Yeah.
Until we open up that door and begin to unpack the trash that's in there.
Yeah.
And what's stinking, and this, you know, the stuff that we've tried to just hide.
Yeah.
So nobody can see when they visit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but once we begin to do that thing, it gives us another room in our house. So, like, man, I never knew this room looked so nice.
So you, in other words, you kind of saying, deal with your trash.
You got to. You have to. And it doesn't happen overnight, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't. So it's like easier said than done, Josh.
Sure.
I know that, right? But until we're willing to, you know, sit in our emotions and sit in our pain and sit into our feelings, right? And deal with them. You know, we're going to carry everything into our next relationship. We're going to carry everything into our next job. We're going to carry everything into our next ministry. We're going to carry everything into our next church, because we got hurt by that church. So we either walk away altogether, or I'm going to go to some place where I'm not hurt. Well, that you're still carrying all that hurt. Yeah. You know, and so you're still going to have that unmet expectation.
Yeah.
And so you have to have people that help you unpack it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you're saying that, because we don't want anybody to operate by themselves. Again, we're not licensed therapists on here. We'll put that out there. All right. And so, I
just read some books, man. I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express or whatever that commercial is.
Look, so, we're sharing this for the purpose of, just education, and you're getting different perspectives. So, if you are, taking medicine, if you are seeing therapists, different things like that, like, say you're professional pertaining to those things. But our encouragement just is that you don't walk alone in this time, and that you do some self-evaluation. And that can be healing done the right way. That can be encouraging. That doesn't have to be low. And it's not to say how horrible you are or we are as individuals. Sometimes the word sin in the Greek means to miss the mark. And that's the thing that really hits me with things. It's like we all have missed the mark. We all have missed the mark, so to speak. But I love that there's an area of realignment. And I think that this is that part where some of us can look at ourselves, do the self-examination, look at our part, being married, right? You got almost 18 and we have 16. And it's that area of just realizing that I have to look at me. If I'm hurt by Lanisha, I can project on her. But I have to still look at me. How did I get myself in this situation? What happened? What's the patterns? What's the situation with and all that? And then from there, I'm able to kind of move forward. Then forgiveness, we talked about that a little bit in a meeting yesterday, forgiveness and reconciliation. And the forgiveness comes in. And for me, forgiveness is just the willingness to move forward beyond that offense, right? Some things I believe don't necessarily have to be reconciled depending on the health of the situation, but there needs to be a level, I feel like, I'm at that place to willing to forgive. There's some people that we have pain with, and they're in the grave. You're not going to get I'm sorry. You're not going to get any of that stuff, but you can forgive even for you, and you can forgive for, if anything else, just a representation of what God has done even for our hearts and our minds, right? And so I think that those parts too, the first step, even if you guys are hearing what Josh is saying from my perspective, is like we got to look at self and then align ourselves with a good team that can help us, whatever our health team is, to move forward and get that breakthrough.
And like full transparency, like I'm on medication. I have a counselor. I need people in my life that are going to walk alongside of me. Like, and, because of all those things, like, and taking all those things serious, like I feel like I'm in a place in my life where even if the world is falling apart around me, there's still some things that I can grasp onto and move ahead with.
Wow.
And it's been a journey of navigating brokenness, navigating pain, and my life's been pretty good, and so like I don't even have a glimpse of what many people have had to walk through, right? And so I'm speaking from a position of like I've been privileged in my life to have the life that I've had, right? And so I haven't had the same journey that you might have or somebody else might have, right? And it might be a lot harder to get to, but I'm still a work in progress, right? Until I realize and look in the mirror and see how broken I am, right? And how desperate I am. I don't think we can move forward and we can't help others, and so it's our passion what drives us to do what we do. And somebody once define passion as a willingness to endure the pain for something greater than the pain. Right? And so what can we do? Right? What are you willing to endure the pain? Because it's painful, right? For something greater.
Wow.
Right? Your passion is what drives you. Your passion is your it. Your passion is your inner tug. But like in order to get to where God wants you to be, you have to be willing. And because I'm a pastor, we call the cross the passion of Christ, right? He endured the cross, despising its shame, but is now seated at the right hand of God the Father in heaven, right? He endured the pain of the crucifixion, of shame, of being mocked and spit on. He endured the pain and the weight of all of our sin upon himself. But it's something greater that you and I have an opportunity
Yeah.
to respond in faith to him. He endured the pain for something greater than the pain. What an incredible example for us. But he said, "Take this cup from me," but it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
He still endured it.
Yeah.
And we have to endure the pain, knowing that if we endure the pain, there's something greater on the other side that God has for us.
Wow.
That can transform our lives.
Wow. So for some, pain may be a part of the process. And so thank you for sharing that, Josh. Thank you for your time and what you've given. I want the people to be able to follow you on social media. And so can you share some of your handles or what you got going on, where they can find you? Where can the peeps find you?
Instagram and Facebook. I'm on Twitter, but I'm on Twitter like twice a year. Just Josh is my Twitter handle.
Okay.
Or X handle, whatever you want to call it now.
Oh, okay.
But Josh Crayons.
Okay.
Instagram and Facebook.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's the name of the church?
Providence Church, Coatesville.
Okay.
We're on Facebook, Instagram too. Providence Church, Coatesville. Providence CV.
Mm-hmm.
Easy find. Sunday night, 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm. What about coaching?
Coaching, myboulevard.co.
Okay.
My Boulevard company, I guess. My Boulevard. You can look up my profile.
Okay. And then they can contact you that way.
And contact me that way.
Love it. Love it. One more thing. I want you to leave us with just a word of encouragement, something from your heart and mind that we can take with us throughout this rest of this week.
Yeah. Here's what I'm wrestling with right now in my own life, and I think it's an encouragement. It should be an encouragement. I hope it's an encouragement to those that are listening. I'm learning the gift of contentment in my life, right? I have all these hopes and dreams, all these desires, all these expectations of how I want to see God work and what I want to see him do and what's next, what's the next phase of ministry look like, and like building stuff, all those things, right? And I know that God is faithful, right? The Bible says even when we're faithless, he remains faithful. He can't deny who he is. And so God is faithful, right? I think whatever state we're in, therewith to be content is what the scripture says. Can we find contentment in that place, knowing that he's faithful, right? And knowing that he's going to continue to be faithful even when we're not, right? We have a good God that loves us. He pursues us. He chose us in him before the foundation of the world, right? I said on Sunday night, he chose you before he even touched a finger to creation. That's crazy. That should blow us away. That's love right there. And so, and can I have patience and contentment and just waiting on his will, his way, knowing that he loves me and knowing that he's going to be faithful. And I think a lot of people are in a phase in their life right now. Most of us are, right? Where we're in you're in a holding pattern. You're in a what's next. You're in a, can I trust the Lord for what's next? And like I said, we got to hit the pause button. So my encouragement to a listener today would be, can you hit the pause button and look at your life and say, am I content on where he has me? And can I exercise patience for what he has next? Because there is something next, right? There's something greater for those that are have the willingness to endure the pain for something greater than the pain.
I love it.
And so,
thank you.
I would say continue to press on.
Thank you.
He's faithful.
Thank you. As he comes to his close, right? No. I'm so grateful for your gift, who you are, your friendship, just who you are. So many blessings on you and Jordan and the whole family.
Thank you.
And so you guys heard his handles. Find Josh on social media. Don't go to Twitter or X because you'll only get 1 or 2 posts a year, but you can find him on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. You can find the ministry on both of those. And you can also go to myboulevard.co, I believe that you said, pertaining to the coaching, and just connect with Josh if you aren't already. I'm sure whatever we have as far as conferences and different things like that, we stay connected. So we'll definitely have you on those realms, and we do life together as well. So thank you. I appreciate you, man. Love you to life. Grateful for you. Grateful for all of you guys. It's not too late to go ahead and share this. If this blessed you, encouraged you, share this episode with somebody who can get some mic drops and some moments. And it's not too late to drop your icon and what you got. What did you get from this episode? What's some of the main stuff? Put it in the comment section. We love you guys. You're awesome. And we'll get at you next week.